Long before the name Donald Trump was etched in gold across skyscrapers, long before cameras followed his every word and crowds chanted his slogans, there was a hidden story buried beneath the surface of his family history. It is a story that almost no one knows, a thread of mystery stretching back generations, weaving ambition, fate, and prophecy together into something that feels larger than life. To understand it, you have to step back in time to the late 1800s when a young man named Friedrich Trump first set foot on American soil. Friedrich was not a man of wealth, but he carried with him an uncanny instinct for opportunity. He opened businesses in the rugged frontiers of Alaska, where gold rush fever consumed thousands of men. Yet, when he was alone at night, he kept a small leather-bound ledger. The book was no ordinary diary. Within its pages were sketches of buildings that had no place in the dusty towns where he lived. They were towering structures with sharp lines and reflective windows that seemed to belong to another century. Alongside the sketches were cryptic notes, strange calculations, and passages written as though they were meant for someone yet to be born. When Friedrich passed away, the ledger was locked away in a chest, hidden in the basement of the Trump family estate. It gathered dust as decades rolled forward, quietly waiting for the eyes it was meant to find. That moment came in the early 1950s, when a boy named Donald, restless and curious, wandered through the old house. He discovered the chest behind a wall panel, its wood splintered but still sealed with a tarnished lock. Donald pried it open, expecting to find trinkets or forgotten tools. Instead, he uncovered a book that seemed alive with secrets. The pages smelled of age, the ink faded yet strangely powerful. As he turned through them, he saw drawings of skyscrapers, glass towers so tall they seemed to scrape the heavens. His young mind was stunned, for these were not buildings he had ever seen, yet they felt familiar, as if they belonged to him somehow. Among the pages was one drawing that caught his eye more than the rest. It was labeled in Friedrich's handwriting, "The Tower of Shadows." The building in the sketch bore an uncanny resemblance to what would one day rise on Fifth Avenue as Trump Tower, though Donald had no way of knowing that then. At the back of the ledger, in the final entry, a warning was scrawled in dark ink, as though written in haste or desperation. "The one who builds these walls will command power beyond measure, but beware, for every tower casts a shadow, and the builder may one day live within it." Donald could not fully grasp the meaning, but he felt something stir inside him, something more than curiosity. It was as if the book was whispering, calling him toward a future he had not yet imagined. He closed the ledger and tucked it away, but the images seared themselves into his memory. As he grew older, he carried that vision with him. While other children dreamed of ball games or adventures, Donald dreamed of skylines. He saw himself not simply as a man, but as a builder who could bend steel and glass to his will. When he studied at school, when he walked through the streets of Manhattan, the warnings and blueprints of his grandfather's ledger pulsed in his mind. He began to believe that perhaps his life was not his own to shape, but part of something predetermined, written long before his birth. When the time came to step into business, Donald threw himself into real estate with a hunger that startled those around him. Every deal he made seemed fueled not just by ambition, but by destiny. He spoke of his projects with a certainty that unnerved his rivals, as though he already knew how it would all unfold. When he finally announced plans for his crown jewel, Trump Tower, those closest to him said he worked with a kind of obsession, reviewing every detail, insisting the glass reflect the city in a way that made it both alluring and ominous. On the day Trump Tower opened, Donald stood outside its black glass facade, staring at the structure that seemed to glow with both pride and menace. For a brief moment, he remembered the drawing in his grandfather's book, labeled "The Tower of Shadows." The resemblance was undeniable. The warning returned to him like a whisper. The builder may one day live within it. He shook off the thought, but deep inside, he wondered if he was merely following a script written long before he was even born. Over the decades, the tower became more than a building. It became a symbol of wealth, of ambition, of controversy, of power. Every triumph and scandal seemed to radiate from its walls, casting both light and shadow across Trump's life. Critics mocked him, fans idolized him, but he continued forward as though guided by something more than human will. It was as if the ledger's prophecy was unfolding line by line, decade by decade. Some who once worked close to Trump claim that he never truly let go of the book. They say he kept it locked in a private vault, away from prying eyes. Others whisper that he destroyed it, fearing the weight of its prophecy, yet unable to escape its grip. No one outside his closest circle knows the truth, but the question lingers. Was Donald Trump's rise the result of sheer ambition and bold decisions, or was he carrying out a destiny mapped out in faded ink long before he was even born? Even now, the mystery endures. The tower still stands, its reflective walls gleaming in the sunlight by day, casting long shadows across the streets by night. Those who walk past rarely give thought to the possibility of prophecy, yet those shadows stretch far, as if to remind the world of the warning hidden within Friedrich's final words. If the prophecy was real, then perhaps it is not finished. For every tower casts a shadow, and within those shadows, history waits to reveal what comes next.